15 Things You Didn't Know About Carlos Slim Helu. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, and welcome to another exciting original video presented by Alux.com. Today we're talking about one of the richest men in the world, Mexican business magnate Carlos Slim. Carlos Slim Helu was born January 28, 1940 in Mexico City to Lebanese immigrants. He began to develop his business skills at an early age. His father had immigrated to Mexico at the age of 14 and built a very successful business with his brothers. Although his father died when Carlos was only 13 years old, he learned much about the ways of business and investing from him. Carlos purchased his first stock at the age of 12 and had become a shareholder in Mexico's largest bank by the age of 15. He earned his engineering degree from the National Autonomous University of Mexico, where he also taught algebra and linear programming. He began working as a stock trader and was able to start his own stock brokerage a few years later. In 1990, he formed Grupo Carso, a global conglomerate of companies reflecting a wide range of industries, including airlines, aluminum, auto parts, mineral extraction, retail, insurance, tobacco, and telecommunications. He has found most of his success by buying up struggling businesses during economic downturns and then selling them when the economic climate has improved. He has also expanded his investments to other countries, specifically the United States, where he owns large stakes in Barnes & Noble, OfficeMax, Denny's, Firestone, and TrackPhone. He has now passed on the day-to-day running of his businesses to his 3 sons and is focusing on more philanthropic endeavors late in his life. However, he can be seen as a controversial figure because he has been accused of running monopolies in a country where nearly 17% of the population lives in poverty. Mexicans often end up paying more for services, such as cell phone usage, because Slim has so much control over the market. His influence is so overwhelming that many Mexicans have referred to their country as Slimlandia. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Okay, enough with the background. Let's get to the 15 things you didn't know about Carlos Slim. Number 1. He doesn't use a computer. Despite owning more than a few technology-based companies, Slim avoids using computers. He takes meticulous notes by hand with pen and paper and keeps detailed records of every business transaction he makes. He's also said that he doesn't send or receive emails and won't read anything on a computer screen. Number 2. He met his wife when he was 24 and she was 16. In the summer of 1964, he met his wife, Sumaya, the daughter of 2 prominent Lebanese immigrant families, and she made an impression on him right away. They were married less than 2 years later and spent 32 years together and had 6 children before her passing in 1999. Number 3. He has held the title of richest person in the world. Carlos briefly overtook Bill Gates as the richest person in the world in 2007. He more than doubled his net worth in that short span of 2008 to 2010, from $35 billion to $75 billion. He held steady as the richest person in the world from 2010 to 2013 and was the first Mexican to top the list. He and Bill Gates competed for the top spot, with Gates overtaking him for part of 2013, only to be passed again by Slim in 2014, with a net worth of $81.6 billion. However, by December 2016, his net worth had dropped to $48.1 billion. As of 2017, he was listed as the 4th richest person in the world. Number 4. His mother offered to buy him a house when he got married, but he declined. After he was married in April of 1966, his mother offered to buy him and his new bride a house, as was customary in his family. He told his mother he would prefer to be given cash instead. She gave him 1 million pesos, and he used that money to buy a 12-story condominium in Mexico City. He and his wife lived on 1 floor and rented out the other apartments. Number 5. He owns one of the most valuable art collections in the world. Slim is an avid art collector, and this is one area he doesn't seem to mind splurging in. In 1994, he opened a private art museum named Museo Sumaya for his wife. The unique museum was designed by Slim's son-in-law and cost $70 billion to build. The 6-story building is covered by 16,000 hexagonal aluminum tiles, which were supplied by a company Carlos owns. The museum features over 66,000 pieces of art, spanning 30 centuries, from Slim's private collection, valued at over $700 million. Admission is free, and it's the most visited art museum in Mexico. Number 6. The companies he owns accounts for about 40% of Mexico's stock market. Slim's companies are so widespread through various sectors that nearly every Mexican will contribute in some way to Slim's earnings every day. For example, he owns 70% of the Mexican cell phone market, the largest restaurant chain, an airline insurance company, and several hotels. He says he's lost count of the number of companies he owns and manages, but the publicly traded ones account for about 40% of the country's main stock market index. Number 7. He gave the New York Times a $250 million loan. Slim signed a lending agreement in 2009 with the New York Times for the amount of $250 million at 14% interest. He was expected to double his money in the deal. The money helped the Times to make the transition to web-based publishing. He presently owns nearly a 17% stake in the publication. Number 8. He drives a Bentley Continental flying SPUR. Although he doesn't seem very interested in luxury automobiles, he does have one car that's reserved for the wealthy. He can be seen driving himself in his Bentley Continental flying SPUR. This luxurious four-door has the exquisite craftsmanship that Bentley is known for at a price of around $300,000. Number 9. His charitable donations add up to well over $1 billion. Through his Telmex Foundation and the Carlos Slim Foundation, he has donated 100,000 computers to public schools, 78,000 pairs of eyeglasses, 200,000 bicycles, and the cost of 400,000 surgeries. He also supports more than 100,000 soccer teams. He has pledged to donate hundreds of millions of dollars to combating poverty in Latin America and gave his foundation $6 billion worth of stock. Number 10. He bought Fifth Avenue's only private townhouse. In 2010, Slim bought the Duke Saman Mansion, a 20,000 square foot residence on Fifth Avenue in New York City. The home has 12 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, and a doctor's office in the basement. He bought the property for $44 million as an investment. In May of 2015, he listed the property for sale for $80 million, and it was on the market for nearly a year with no purchaser. If it sells for his asking price or even millions less, it'll be the most expensive townhome ever sold in New York City. He bought a second home in the city for $15.5 million back in 2011. He leases it out to the John Barrett Salon for $1.5 million a year. To check out other homes Carlos could afford, click in the top right-hand corner to watch our video of the 10 most expensive houses in the world. Number 11. He has lived in the same house for over 40 years. Despite having a considerable collection of real estate, Carlos has resided in the same home for over 40 years. The 6-bedroom, 8-bathroom home is located in Mexico City and is a relatively modest home for someone who has held the title of the richest man in the world. It is only 3 miles from his childhood home and is right down the street from his office. Number 12. He insists on driving himself everywhere. Unlike many of the rich and famous, Carlos refuses to let a driver take him anywhere. He drives himself to work and everywhere else around the city. However, he is followed at all times by a convoy of bodyguards that ensure his protection. Number 13. He is obsessed with the New York Yankees. His love for statistics attracted him to baseball, and his favorite team is the New York Yankees. He loves the team so much that he knows obscure statistics, like the batting averages of players from 30 years ago, for example. He can often be seen at the games. Unlike other wealthy sports fans, he has no interest in owning a baseball team, saying that he does not want to mix business with pleasure. Number 14. He lives modestly for a billionaire. Despite his massive wealth, Slim tends to live modestly in many areas of his life. He's known to wear a plastic calculator wristwatch instead of a Rolex. He doesn't have a luxurious super yacht like many other billionaires in the world. He has no desire to live in a massive mansion, as he says, in a big house you wouldn't ever see your family. He's also frugal at times. For example, one time in Venice, he didn't want to pay full price for a necktie that he was purchasing, and bargained with the salesperson to bring the price down to about $10. Number 15. He lost more than $1 billion in just one day. August 25, 2015 was a turbulent day in the stock market. Carlos was one of 12 billionaires that lost more than $1 billion in a single day. He actually lost about $1.6 billion, which is a significant amount, but only a small portion of his $80 billion net worth at the time. Now that you've learned more about Carlos Slim, do you think his business practices are fair? Let us know in the comments. And here's a bonus fact for those of you still with us. The average Mexican spends 1.5 pesos per day on Slim's goods and services, which equals to a total of $140 million a day. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.